ground at spawn is screaming. Obsidian eyes blaze open where grass should be, 12 end portal frames fused into a perfect ring at the world's first coordinates, their sockets filled, their surface already swirling. Air warps, tasting of metal and dragon breath. New players arrive in flashes of light, and, with their very first step, hear wings beating from somewhere impossibly close and impossibly far. Above the quiet plains, Endermen watch from the tree line, heads tilted as the portal at spawn begins to hum. If you want more twisted timelines like this, tap like so the algorithm knows to keep them coming, and subscribe so you do not miss the next fracture in Minecraft reality. Tell me in the comments which biome you would defend if this portal opened in your world and where you are watching from. The first player appears on the freshly generated world with nothing but fists and curiosity. His name, floating above his head, is Ren. He expects the usual: trees, pigs, maybe a village in the distance. Instead, his spawn point stands one block from a completed end portal, sunk into a shallow stone altar, its frame half buried in the earth, as if the world tried to hide it and failed. He does not move at first. The portal's surface is not flat. It bulges and ripples like liquid obsidian lit from beneath, throwing violet light across his empty hotbar. There is no stronghold, no cracked brick corridors below, just bedrock and the void of the end pressing through. "Is this bugged?" he whispers, though there is no one to hear. He walks around the ring slowly. Each frame block is chipped, ancient, yet untouched by moss. The eyes in their sockets follow him, pupils rotating a fraction when he passes. He feels watched, not by the portal, but through it. Behind him, another flash. A second player drops in. Mira! She spins, sees the portal, and immediately backs away until her boots hit the edge of a shallow pond. "No way," she breathes. "Ren, do not get close to that." Ren crouches at the edge of the ring, his shadow trembling on the surface. It is open. From spawn, that should not be possible. Far above them, clouds drift over a perfectly ordinary plains biome. Cows graze. A village stands 200 blocks away, its bells silent, its iron golem patrolling in lazy squares. The world does not yet understand what has happened to its heart. The portal pulses once. Every Enderman in every biome turns its head toward spawn. By the time the third and fourth players arrive, the air around the portal has grown colder. Their breath mists in front of them, each exhale warping, as if the dimension on the other side is tasting their presence. The sky remains blue, but the light feels thinner, as if stretched. They argue. They circle. They throw dirt blocks into the portal and watch them vanish without sound. "Imagine," says Ren, eyes bright in the purple glow. "No need to find a stronghold, direct access. We could gear up, go in and finish the dragon before anyone else even gets iron." Mira shakes her head. This is wrong. The game is built around distance, around preparation. If the end is at spawn, then nothing is far anymore. Her words hang in the air, heavier than they should be. They decide, for now, to leave it alone, to punch trees, to craft wooden tools, to pretend that the portal is just another structure. But every time they glance back, the ring is there, patient and unblinking, like an eye at the center of the world. By nightfall, torches form a rough circle around it. The group has grown. 6 players now, huddled in a crude cobblestone wall that they pretend is a base. Zombies groan in the dark beyond, but none cross an invisible boundary 20 blocks from the portal. Skeletons stand at a distance, arrows nocked, then slowly lower their bows as if reconsidering. Mira notices first. They are afraid of it. The portal hum deepens. In the village to the west, a bell rings without a hand to swing it. Villagers wake, eyes wide, and peer out their windows toward the faint violet glow on the horizon. The wandering trader who arrived that afternoon feels his llamas tug at their leads, whining softly, refusing to face east. The world is beginning to align around Spawn. Days pass. Word spreads. More players join the server, each one spawning into the same circle of purple light. Their first sight, not a sunrise, but the promise of the end. Some are fascinated. Some are terrified. All are changed. Ren becomes the portal's loudest advocate. He organizes mining parties, iron runs, nether expeditions. "We have been handed the final door," he says by the third day, standing atop a stack of logs like a preacher. "If we control it, we control the pace of this world. No griefers skipping ahead. No chaos. We make rules before anyone can exploit it." Mira watches the growing camp with a tight jaw. Tents of wool and wood. Fences. Chests. The portal ring, now surrounded by a second ring of stone bricks, as if they are building a shrine. At night, she hears the portal whisper. Not words, just the soft suggestion of falling, of wings, of infinite obsidian pillars waiting. She is not the only one hearing it. On the fifth day, the first Enderman appears at spawn. It does not teleport in with its usual crack of displaced air. It simply steps out of the tree line, tall and impossibly thin, eyes bright as the portal. It does not pick up blocks, does not wander. It stands at the very edge of the torchlight and stares at the ring in the ground. Players freeze, swords half drawn, bows at the ready. The Enderman tilts its head. Its gaze shifts from the portal to the players, one by one, as if counting. Then, with a sound like a distant bell being struck underwater, it vanishes. In its place, a single endstone block sits on the grass. Ren inspects it, hand shaking despite himself. "It knows," he murmurs. "Whatever is on the other side, it knows we have a doorway." Far away in a windswept desert, a lone player named Kale spawns for the first time. Or at least, he should. Instead, he materializes at spawn like the others, boots planting on the packed dirt road that now circles the portal. He had expected sand. Instead, he is greeted by walls, guards, and a sign. No entry to the end without permission. A faction has formed in his absence. They call themselves the Wardens of Spawn. Led by Ren, armored in iron and then diamond, they control the portal with the seriousness of a government. Chests of pearls and blaze powder are stacked in guarded bunkers. The first forays into the end have already taken place. The dragon still lives, but obsidian pillars bear scars where players tested their bows. Kale reads the sign again, then looks up at the ring of purple light. "You can end the game from here," he says quietly, more to himself than anyone else. "You can end everything, from the place everyone must begin." A guard steps forward, shield raised. "Rules are rules. No one goes in without Ren's say." Kale smiles, but it does not reach his eyes. What happens when someone does not ask? The guard's hand tightens on his sword. Then the world falls apart. The world is already beginning to. Villages closer to spawn have changed their paths. Where their roads once wandered randomly, they now all bend, subtly but surely, toward the portal. Iron golems patrol facing east. Farmers plant in neat rows that align with the ring at spawn, as if obeying a magnetic pull. In the nether, lava flows seem to lean, trickling in streams that point, if mapped, directly back to the overworld 00. Piglins grow restless, clutching their gold tighter when players mention the end. The dimensions are listening to each other. Ren returns from his third end expedition with a chorus of footsteps behind him. Armor clanks, elytra wings rustle. They have not killed the dragon yet. They are not sure they want to. It is too early, he tells Mira that night, staring into the portal from a respectful distance. If we take it down now, we unleash the end on a world that is not ready. Shulkers, gateways, infinite resources. We will break balance. People will tear each other apart for what is on the other side. Mira studies him. So, you will... what? Guard it forever? Decide who gets to progress? Ren's voice is tired. Someone has to. Spawn is supposed to be safe. If the end of the world sits here, then it needs a keeper. Mira looks at the torches, the walls, the watchtowers, at the villagers who now come in small caravans to trade, their llamas refusing to step close to the portal, at the children who stand on tiptoe to peer into the violet light and are pulled back by panicked parents. Or, she says, we find a way to close it. The word hangs between them like a challenge. Close it. No one knows how. No one has ever had to. Ren laughs once, humorless. You cannot unfill Eyes of Ender. You cannot uncarve the frame. This is not a door we opened. This is something the world generated. It is part of the seed. Mira looks up at the sky, at the stars that seem slightly closer than before. Seeds can be corrupted. Far beneath their feet, deep in deep slate and silence, an ancient city sleeps. Its skulk sensors twitch at vibrations from above that do not belong to footsteps or mining. A rhythm pulses through bedrock, an alien heartbeat. The warden stirs in its soil, blind eyes opening to a color it cannot see but can feel. The same purple that bleeds from spawn. The first true fracture comes on a rain-soaked afternoon. Kale has been at spawn for days now, watching, helping villagers build safer houses, chatting with new players before the wardens of spawn usher them through orientation. He smiles, he jokes, he trades. He also listens. He hears the complaints from those who feel caged. He hears the awe from those who think Ren is a hero. He hears the whispers from those who resent that the endgame sits at their feet, but is kept just out of reach. When the storm hits, lightning slamming into the plains, Ren is in the end with a strike team, testing beds as weapons. The guards at spawn are fewer. The rain hisses on the portal surface, each drop vanishing without a ripple. Kale steps into the circle. Mira sees him from the watchtower. Kale, she calls, voice barely audible over the rain. You know the rules. He stops on the edge of the frame, toes inches from the swirling void. His hair is plastered to his forehead. I know, he says. I am not here to break them. He pulls a carved pumpkin from his inventory, holds it up. I am here to ask a question. Mira lowers her bow, wary but curious. Ren thinks this portal is a threat to be contained, Kale says. You think it is a wound to be healed. But what if it is neither? What if it is a negotiation? He lifts the pumpkin over his head, then gently, deliberately lowers it onto the portal surface. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. The pumpkin sits there, ludicrously ordinary, its carved eyes staring up at the storm. Then the portal flares white. The pumpkin vanishes. Not in the clean, silent way of a thrown item, but in a burst of particles that spray outward like shattered glass. The ring of frames trembles. The ground around Spawn heaves, cracking in jagged lines that race out toward the horizon. Mira is thrown from the tower. She hits the mud, ears ringing, vision smeared with purple afterimages. The portal is no longer a flat pool. It has risen, bulging upward into a dome of liquid void, extending a block, then two, above the frames. Its surface roils, forming vague shapes. Towers, an island, the silhouette of a dragon's wing. Every player on the server feels a lurch in their stomach as their spawn point shifts a fraction of a block, recalibrating around the new shape. In the end, Ren staggers as the obsidian pillar he stands on shudders. The dragon wheels in the sky, roaring with a sound that rattles his teeth. The gateways on the edges of the void flicker, their portals spasming like blinking eyes. He hears it then, not with ears, but with the bones of his character. A question echoing from Spawn through the thin places between dimensions. How much of yourself will you give to keep this door open? At Spawn, Kale stands within arm's reach of the swollen portal, his face lit ghostly pale. He's laughing, but there is terror in it. "It reacts!" he shouts over the storm. "It is not just a doorway, it is hungry!" Mira scrambles to her feet. "Step away from it!" The portal's surface stretches toward Kale, a tendril of swirling void reaching like a hand. He stumbles back, but not fast enough. It brushes his arm. In that instant, every Enderman on the server screams. Kale is not pulled through, not entirely. His body remains in the overworld, collapsing to its knees, but his eyes go empty, his skin taking on a faint, unnatural desaturation, as if a texture pack has failed to load. He looks up at Mira slowly. "It saw me," he whispers. "It knows my name." The storm breaks in an instant. Rain cuts off. Thunder dies mid-rumble. The sky clears to a sharp, unnatural blue. The portal settles back into its frame, flat once more. But it is not the same. Its glow is brighter, its hum is louder, and every time Kale blinks for a split second, his pupils are vertical slits of purple. Ren returns to a different Spawn. Walls are cracked. Torches have fallen. Villagers cluster in tight groups, muttering. The wardens of Spawn look shaken, their armor scuffed, as if they have been fighting something invisible. Ren runs to the portal, chest heaving. "What happened?" Mira meets his gaze, rain still dripping from her hair. "We tested it," she says, "and it tested us back." He sees Kale standing near the ring, too still. "What did you do?" Kale smiles faintly. "I asked it whether it wanted to be here." Ren's hand goes to his sword. "You do not bargain with dimensions." Kale shrugs. "You already did, the moment you decided to guard it instead of destroy it." From that day, the portal at Spawn is no longer a passive structure. It has preferences. Animals refuse to path directly over it. Chickens that wander too close freeze, then turn in perfect unison to face the nearest player, heads twitching in a staccato rhythm that matches the portal's hum. New players who spawn within the purple light sometimes appear a half block in the air and fall with a jolt, as if the world hesitated, deciding which side of the portal to place them. Some nights, Endermen gather at the edge of the village, forming a silent ring that mirrors the portal's shape. They do not attack unless looked at. They simply stand, tall shadows under the moon, waiting. The world begins to reshape itself around this new center. Factions form not just around resources, but around philosophy. Ren's Wardens of Spawn double down on their mission. They reinforce walls with obsidian. They build redstone contraptions to detect unauthorized portal use. They draw maps where every road, every rail line, every nether highway leads inevitably to spawn, to their fortress, to their control. Mira gathers those who think differently, builders who feel the world's beauty warping under the portal's gravity, farmers who notice crops near spawn growing slightly twisted, wheat heads bending toward the ring as if drawn by invisible wind. She leads expeditions outward to distant biomes, seeking strongholds that do not exist. Because that is the quiet truth. There are no other end portals. The usual ring of strongholds is absent. Mineshafts end in blocked tunnels. Libraries stand empty where portals should be. The world has poured all its endward energy into spawn. In the deep dark below, the ancient city wakes fully. Skulk veins pulse with purple light. The warden emerges not from the ground, but from a tear in reality. Its chest cavity flickering with a hue that does not belong in the overworld. It sniffs the air, confused, then turns its head unerringly towards spawn and begins to walk. It will take days. It has patience. On the surface, tension snaps sooner. The breaking point comes when a group of desperate players, tired of waiting for permission, tries to rush the portal. They come at dawn, armor mismatched, weapons dull but determined. Their leader, a player named Sarah, has lost 3 bases to griefers in the wild. She has watched the wardens of spawn grow rich on end loot while she struggles with iron. If the game gives us the end at spawn, she argues, then no one should own it. They charge. Alarms blare, redstone lamps flash, arrows rain from the walls. The fight is messy, panicked, filled with shouted names and clashing steel. In the chaos, Sarah reaches the ring. She jumps, arms outstretched, and dives into the portal. The server stutters. For a second, every player feels their screen freeze. Chunks hang half-loaded. Mobs pause mid-step. The sun halts in the sky. Then reality lurches forward. Sarah never appears in the end. Her name flashes in chat. Sarah fell out of the world. The portal at spawn flares, then dims, its surface a little darker than before, as if something has been taken from it. Silence falls. Ren stares at the ring, knuckles white on his sword. It rejected her. Mira feels a cold knot in her stomach. No, she says softly. It ate her. From that moment, the portal is no longer just a path. It is a judge. Some who step in emerge in the end as expected, stumbling onto obsidian, gasping at the dragon's roar. Others vanish into the void. Their inventories lost, their beds ignored, their respawns broken. Patterns emerge, whispered in corners. Those who treat the portal as a tool, who plan, who respect the danger, seem to pass. Those who rush, who rage, who seek only power sometimes do not. But the patterns are not perfect. Sometimes the careful are devoured. Sometimes the reckless are spared. The world learns a new kind of fear. Not of mobs, not of lava, but of intention itself being weighed. Ren tries to codify it. He writes rules, lectures new players, holds ceremonies before portal crossings. He stands at the ring, hand on the frame, and speaks as if to a living thing. "We are not your enemies," he says one night, voice low. "We are your stewards. Let us use you without losing ourselves." The portal hums, indifferent. Mira's faction grows in the shadows of forests and mountains. They build bases far from spawn, in mushroom fields and frozen peaks, places where the portal's pull feels weaker. They experiment with obsidian cages, with waterlogged frames, with TNT and pistons, anything to disrupt the ring at 0-0. Nothing works. The portal flickers, distorts, then snaps back, always open, always hungry. In the deep dark, the warden reaches the layer of stone directly beneath Spawn. It raises its head, feeling the thrum of the portal above. Its chest glows brighter, purple bleeding into blue, into something new. It digs upward. One night, as players sleep in their beds or log off for the real world, the ground at Spawn trembles. Stone cracks. A crater blossoms beneath the portal, dropping it 5 blocks in an instant. The frames hang in mid-air for a heartbeat, then settle on new supports of raw obsidian that have grown like roots. From the darkness below, a sound rises. A low, mournful bellow. Not quite Ender, not quite Overworld. The warden has arrived. It does not emerge fully. Its head and shoulders push up into the crater, blind face turned directly at the portal ring. It sniffs once, then places both massive hands on the underside of the frames. The portal responds. Light lances downward, spearing into the warden's chest. Its heartbeat, once a steady blue thump, becomes a chaotic purple strobe. The air around Spawn thickens, every breath a struggle. Players wake choking, stumbling out of their houses to see the impossible. An overworld boss and a dimensional gate locked together in some kind of grotesque synchronization. Endermen begin to spawn at Spawn in daylight. Not 1 or 2, but dozens, filling the streets, their bodies twitching in time with the warden's chest light. They do not attack. They stand, a forest of black limbs and staring eyes, forming a living wall around the crater. Ren pushes through them, each step a risk, each accidental glance a potential death. He reaches the edge and looks down. The portal now extends both ways, up into the end, down into the deep dark. It is no longer a flat ring, but a column of shimmering void, anchored by the warden's hands. "We have created a spine," Mira says beside him, voice hoarse. A direct connection from the end to the deepest part of the overworld. There is no separation now. Ren's face is pale. "If the dragon dies with this open," he says slowly, "what comes through will not stay in the end." The final choice arrives with the inevitability of gravity. The dragon grows stronger with each day the portal remains open. Its health bar climbs beyond normal limits. New crystals appear on pillars that were once bare. The end itself begins to bleed through in small ways. Chorus flowers sprouting near Spawn. Tiny end islands hovering over lakes, their shadows rippling on water. Mira's scouts report Endermen building crude structures in distant biomes, placing endstone in spirals that all point back to Spawn. Villagers dream of purple skies. Iron golems wake with their eyes glowing faintly violet before it fades. The world is becoming a hybrid. Ren gathers both factions at Spawn, wardens of Spawn and Mira's wanderers, villagers and wandering traders. Even a few Endermen stand at the edges, heads tilted, listening. "We have 2 paths," he says, voice carrying over the hum of the portal and the warden's heartbeat. "We can leave the dragon alive, let this fusion continue, and hope the world settles into a new balance. Or we can go in, all of us who are willing, and kill it, end the end as an active threat." Mira's eyes are on the column of void. "And if we kill it?" Ren looks at the ring, at the warden, at the sky where faint, ghostly outlines of obsidian pillars sometimes flicker at the edge of vision. "Then this portal will have nothing left to hold back." Kale steps forward, pupils briefly slitting. "Either way," he says, "Spawn is no longer just a beginning. It is a judgment. If we do nothing, the world is slowly rewritten. If we act, we risk tearing it in half." They stand on the brink, every breath a decision. In the end, they choose action. Not because they are certain it is right, but because doing nothing has already changed too much. The assault on the End is unlike any dragon fight in any timeline. Dozens of players pour through the portal at once, armor gleaming, potions swirling, hearts pounding. The dragon roars, enraged by the flood. The sky above the obsidian island is crowded with arrows, fireballs, and beds detonating in controlled bursts. Back at spawn, those who remain watch the portal column flare brighter with each hit the dragon takes. The warden below bellows in time with the dragon's screams, its chest light strobing so fiercely that blocks nearby crack from the vibration. The final arrow flies from Ren's bow. It arcs in slow motion, passing through a ring of Endermen that teleport aside, through a haze of dragon breath. Through the weight of every choice that led here, it strikes. The dragon's health bar shatters. In the overworld, the portal at spawn erupts. Light spears upward and downward at once, a beam of pure end energy that punches through the bedrock ceiling of the deep dark and tears a hole in the sky above spawn. For a moment, there is no distinction between dimensions. The End's black void yawns above the plains, its stars wheeling far too close. The deep dark's skulk tendrils reach up through cracked stone, grasping at air that tastes of dragon ash. Every entity in the world freezes. Villagers mid-step, cows mid-chew, Endermen mid-teleport. Then slowly, the light dims. When the players stagger back through the portal, dragon egg in hand, they do not arrive at the spawn they left. The portal ring is still there, but its surface is dark. Not inactive, but sleeping. The warden below has turned to stone, frozen in place, its hands fused to the underside of the frames. Its chest no longer glows. Skulk has crept up to the crater's edge, but stops at an invisible line. The sky is normal blue again. The air smells of grass and wood smoke. For the first time since the world began, spawn is quiet. Ren stands at the edge of the ring, dragon egg cradled in his hands. "We did it," he says, but there is no triumph in his voice, only exhaustion. "We kept the End from swallowing the world." Mira looks around, at the walls half melted by stray End energy, at the villagers blinking in the sudden calm, at Kale, whose eyes are now fully human again, the purple finally gone. "At what cost?" she asks. The cost reveals itself in small ways over days and weeks. New players still spawn at 0-0, but now they appear a few blocks farther from the ring, as if the world is giving them space to choose whether to approach. The portal never fully closes. Its surface remains dark, reflective, showing not the End, but a warped image of spawn itself, twisted and stretched. Items tossed in vanish, but nothing comes out. Endermen still appear near spawn at night, but fewer. They stand at the crater's edge, staring down at the petrified warden, then at the portal, as if mourning a lost connection. Villagers keep their roads pointed towards spawn, but the pull is weaker. Some new settlements curve away, choosing coasts or mountains instead of the central plains. Biomes that had begun to show End corruption slowly heal. Chorus flowers withering, floating islands crumbling into dust. The world settles into a new equilibrium, but it is not the old one. Ren disbands the Wardens of Spawn as a military force. They become builders, archivists, storytellers. They maintain the structures around the portal, not as fortifications, but as a memorial. Mira continues to wander, but she returns often, drawn by something she cannot name. She sits at the crater's edge and listens to the silence where the hum used to be. Kale spends his days experimenting at the portal's edge, dropping items, pouring water, placing blocks. Nothing provokes the old hunger. The portal remains quiescent, a black mirror. One evening, as the sun sets in a blaze of orange, a wandering trader arrives at spawn. He has traveled farther than any villager, through jungles and over frozen oceans. He stands before the portal ring, llamas grumbling softly, and shakes his head. "Strange world," he mutters. "Spawn used to be simple. A bed, a chest, a tree. Now the first thing a soul sees is the last thing a world can bear." Ren hears him and smiles sadly. "We made it bear it," he says. "Somehow." The trader looks at the dark portal. "Or it made you bear it." Night falls. Stars prick the sky. At some point, when no one is watching closely, the portal's surface ripples once. Just a shiver, like a dream passing through a sleeper. For a heartbeat, its reflection does not show spawn, but a distant, untouched plains biome with no walls, no crater, no portal. Just grass and flowers, and the possibility of a beginning without an ending at its feet. Then the image is gone, replaced by the familiar, twisted reflection of the world they have made. Mira, half asleep on the crater rim, opens her eyes, unsure if she has seen anything at all. She looks down at the ring, at the stone warden, at the villagers' houses glowing warm in the dark. She wonders, not for the first time, what this world would have been if the end portal had spawned where it belonged, hidden far away in some forgotten stronghold. The portal lies silent, offering no answer, holding within its dark glass the memory of a dragon's last scream and the echo of a choice that can never be unmade.